כל השונה הלכות בכל יום מובטח לו שהוא בן העולם הבא. בעזרת השם, we're back at the yeshiva. Finally, back at the yeshiva. Rosh Chodesh, Shvat, Thursday, Friday, 5th day of the week of Parashat Shabbat Vayera. Bezat Hashem, we're going to be discussing today continuation of the laws involving arayot, basically involving ourselves specifically with the family members, prohibitions of family members, and we'll discuss a little bit more in the detail today. B'siyata d'shmaya, this prohibitions and the purpose of them, with Hashem's help. Bezat Hashem, today we're going to be discussing mitzvah number 201, the prohibition of having intimate relations with your sister or with your daughter-in-law, and also to have number 202, a prohibition of having intimate relations with your brother's wife, your sister-in-law. So Bezat Hashem, the mitzvot today are Mugdash, Le'ilui Nishmat, all the Niftarim, all those who passed away without leaving any family members or somebody to daven on their behalf. Hashem should have Bezat Hashem send them siyata d'shmaya and aliyah b'kedusha, not siyata d'shmaya, they're in the shamayim already, but they should get aliyah b'kedusha because of our limud. And also Elik ben Ksenia, Bezat Hashem, Nishmato, today is his yortzeit, a family member that has nobody to daven for him, unfortunately. So Hashem should elevate his neshama, b'kedusha u'b'tahora. His sister, his cousin reached out to me and asked me to mention his name today. Today is the yortzeit. I say Kaddish also for him today, Bezat Hashem as well. B'siyata d'shmaya, we're also going to dedicate the limut le'atzlacha kol hachayalim, all the soldiers who are protecting the Jewish nation should be Bezat Hashem return home peacefully. All the captured, all the kidnapped should be returned. All the Jews, wherever they are, should be freed immediately and without any harm. And also l'refuah shlema lekol cholei amo Yisrael, and amongst them to Chaya bat Leah, Yosef Chaim ben Mufrat, Yaakov Israel Daniel ben Angela, Amnon ben Osnad, Amnon ben Vila, Rachamim ben Bricha, Rav Abraham Shor, Refuah shlemo, Abraham ben Gedalia Shor, Levi, Refuah shlema, Esther bat Julio, and all the names that we mentioned and those that we didn't mention yet, Hashem should have refuah shlema lechol cholei amo Yisrael. So Bezat Hashem, we're going to start mitzvah number 201, the prohibition of lavo al eshet haben shetiye ishto min ha'erusin v'chol sheken min ha'nisuin. So daughter-in-law means not necessarily means married daughter-in-law, even from kiddushin. In olden days, as we said many times, the marriage did not declared only at the time of under the chuppah as we do these days. The reason we do it today by the chuppah because we don't want to take any mikshol, we don't want to have any problems, so we do everything at once. But in olden days, they used to do 12 months engagement, and after the engagement, she would be mikudeshet. They would do all the actual, not like we call today engagement party, celebrating the union of these two families, or about to be union of these two families. In olden days, engagement actually meant where he would give her a tabat, give her a ring, or give her a value of anything that's worth a substantial amount of pruta or more, something that's nice, of some value, and this way acquisition would transpire. So over here, we're talking about even from that stage, and then they would give a 12-month period for the chatan to get prepared, to collect the money, to make a nice, beautiful wedding, to make it respectable for the kala. Those were those days that don't forget, in olden days they didn't even have wine for Shabbos. This is what we're talking about, the 12-month period. Today, Baruch Hashem, I hold my personal beliefs. A week or 10 days, it should be a wedding. Everybody, 2 dates, 3 dates. Obviously, all the homework is done before they date. The kala, the chassan and kala, chas v'shalom. It's a shame that at the dates they find out things about each other. That's wrong. That's not the way to do it. Everything should be found out. Everything should be done way before a first date, investigation, phone calls, and all the things. On the date you go, and Bezat Hashem, 2-3 dates. Once the proposal is made, 10 days is a wedding, because Baruch Hashem, we have so much shefa today. No, we need an apartment. We need an apartment. Okay, so I'll give you 2 weeks. Not more than that. Today you could rent an apartment in a second. What are we playing games? This is old. It's games. Rahman al only causes us Hashem Yerachem all the avirot, all the sins, and they're seeing each other and they're frequenting each other, and things that happen are way beyond their control. So the best thing is to marry them off right away. Once the shidduch is made, what are you waiting for? What is this 3-4 months? No, we need money. You have plenty of money today's generation. You have plenty of money. And again, we're talking about at the time of 12 months. We're talking about they didn't have a bottle of wine. All right. So that's the state that the Torah tells us. Even in that state, forget about after she's married to your son. Even in that state, once the son engaged her, you're prohibited having any intimate relations. As I said, Ben b'chayav afilu girsha. Even if he's dead, okay, or even if he divorced her, the father-in-law is prohibited to having relations with his daughter-in-law. She's considered to be his wife, his daughter, his son's wife, and she's prohibited to him. As it says in chapter 18, pasuk 15, you're prohibited to have to uncover her intimacies of your daughter-in-law. It says in the Torah over there, it doesn't matter, even if your son is mamzer, doesn't matter, it's still going to be asur. Benohu mikol makom, it's his son. Aval ben shivcha benochrit, ez nikra beno leshum davar. However, if a person has a chas v'shalom a child with a goya, and now this child slept with a girl, or married a girl, this is not considered to be his child, and therefore there's no provision there. Shoresh v'sur z'ha'arayot b'ketavnu. Now, what is the rules? What's the foundation? Why Hashem is troubled with me marrying to my relatives or close people to me? So again, the concept is like this: we have to understand that the whole concept of intimacy, which has been completely annihilated, the whole purpose of it. The world today is using intimacy for sales, for business, for profit, for general profit, and has zero regard of this intimate act of privacy for its purpose. The original purpose of Hashem creating this beautiful concept of us procreating. The whole purpose of intimacy, a man and a woman going to the bed together, is to create another human being. That was the whole purpose. Here, the problem with the krovot, all the relatives that are constantly around you, the problem is that they're constantly around you. The Chacham said to us already, Mitzvah number 190, discussed in depth that we have this problem with closeness. We have this, ladies are around us at all the times. Our sisters, our mothers, our aunts, they're always there. So, and the beauty always will attract you, and it will make you become eventually an individual who is soaked through and through in this intimate relations. And that is not the purpose of the creation of this world. And obviously, a person will not want to have children from let's say his daughter-in-law. Would he want to have a child from his daughter-in-law? Of course not. Of course not. He doesn't want his son to know about it. She's his daughter-in-law. Would a person want to have a child with his daughter, for crying out loud? Would he want to have a child from his mother? Of course not. So why would he have relations with his relatives? Just for pleasure. And that's the Torah tells us, chas v'shalom, the intimate aspect of the intimacy of in the bedroom between a man and a woman is to create a next generation. And next generation is not from your relatives. It's going to be coming that you're going to find a B'ezrat Hashem, Isha, Yirat Hashem, a beautiful wife you're going to build a family together, and you're going to have intimate relations with her for a family purpose, not for the purpose of pleasure. And therefore, the Torah prohibits us to have intimate relations with people who are constantly around us, because it's not going to be for the purpose of procreation, it's going to be purpose of for pleasure. And that is not what the purpose of intimacy, the relations between a man and a woman, was created and given to us as a present by Hashem to have. As Gemara says the intimate relations between man and a woman is 1/60th of Gan Eden. It's 1/60th of the pleasure that a person will feel in the or next world. So again, and teachers also tell us to having pleasure in this world. It takes away from the next world pleasures. So as if to say that a person could be rewarded in this world. So chas v'shalom, if a person is constantly busy with this act, constantly busy with his act, even with his own wife. Ezra Sofer has established many rules in reference to that. For instance, going to the mikveh, that he then people have to go down to the mikveh before even they're learning. So in the olden days, when people concerned about learning, it worked. Today, nobody cares about learning much. You go into the yeshiva. Oh, my wife, Shalom Bayit, right? Yeah, for Shalom Bayit, he's not learning. Hashem Erachem. Hashem should have mercy on us. This is the generation that we're coming to. But in reality, when people were concerned about learning, so Ezra Sofer said, you can't learn if you have intimate relations with your wife. So people would stay away once a week, on Shabbat maybe, when there is no obligation to learn new Torah. So on Shabbat they would be with their wives. So again, Bezat Hashem, we understand the purpose of it, and that now hopefully will correlate this reasoning of HaKadosh Baruch Hu to all the prohibitions of intimate relations with relatives, as we have mentioned. Midinei mitzvah, mashil asuru zechronom livracha, as our sages have mentioned in Gemara Ibamot, the gader ze kalat bno, to prohibit even the kala, an engaged of your son. V'chen kalat ben bno ad sof haolam, even not just your son, even your grandchildren forever. The prohibition of sleeping with their wives. V'asru gam ken kalat bito bilvad. Okay, what about your grandson from your daughter? So again, so if your daughter is daughter-in-law, you will be prohibited. But let's say your daughter's sons, that it's not going to be. The rabbis didn't go that far. Meaning, if your grandson from your daughter has a son, and that son marries a girl, that girl will be allowed. There was no prohibition for you to marry her. Okay. והטעם, כי אין מה שאמרנו למעלה, לפי שהאיסור בא בגרתו בכלתו, גזרו הם בכל הקלות הבאות מעמד הבן. Because first of all, the Torah prohibited openly the daughter-in-law from the son's side, so that's going to be forever. Because וכלת ביתו בלבד, ודי לנו בכך ואלו נקראות משניות. But again, but in the daughter's side, there's no longer that aspect of a son's lineage, and therefore, when a daughter has a son, that son actually goes on the name of a different name, right? Obviously, because the daughter loses her maiden name and takes on the husband's name, and all his children are under his name. So that boy, only that boy's wife, you'll be prohibited. If that boy's children, all of the next line, if his son marries and dies or whatever, he divorces, the grandsons from the daughter's side will have that. The rabbis didn't go that far. This prohibition is everywhere and any time. Somebody went ahead on purpose and slept with his daughter-in-law, and there were witnesses and warning, he gets stoned. Not unlike regular relations, right? The Torah here specifically explained to us already. This is additional prohibition. But if a man sleeps with a regular woman, even married woman, he would get strangled in that case, especially with a married woman, right? But over here, she's also married, but she's his daughter-in-law. In that aspect, the Torah tells us he gets stoned. If there's no witnesses, his soul gets ripped. Obviously, if he did it by mistake, whatever, as we say, drinking is not a solution for anything. But people get drunk and they do a lot of mistake, a lot of erod. In this case, the guy didn't know whose bedroom he climbed, and she was drunk. She thought her husband came. Her husband Bechlal was learning in the Beis Medrash, so she thought it was her husband who came to her bed, and they did the avera b'shogeg. They have to bring a korban. However, in the case where the rabbis have prohibited and the person transgressed with his grandsons, all of that, in that instance, he would get lashed by the rabbis until he stops doing the Avirah. Okay, next. Mitzvah number 202, the same rule applies to the sister-in-law, same concept, she's always around. As it says in the Torah, you're not allowed to sleep with your wife, with the wife of your brother. Doesn't matter if it's from the father's side, from the mother's side. It doesn't matter even if he raped her or he just slept with her, even with her consent. Once the brother touches a girl, a man is not allowed to touch that girl ever. So, even after the engagement or after the marriage especially, anytime. So again, even from the rape we said, even from just one night stand, Chas v'shalom, in that case also, it will be prohibited for a man to sleep with his sister, this woman that his brother touched. It doesn't matter if he's alive or he's dead. Okay, except in one case, there is an instance where a brother's wife will be allowed, and we call that yibum. The brother died without leaving any relatives. Okay, as we already discussed. Okay, the older, what we just discussed, the purpose of this mitzvah, we already discussed earlier, that all the relatives, all the close relatives are prohibited. Prohibition of having intimate relations with your sister-in-law. It's any time. A man went ahead and transgressed the sin, sleeping with his daughter or sister-in-law. Is it? If he did it on purpose, he would have a punishment of ripping up his soul. If he did it by mistake, again, the aspect of drunkenness or whatever, they did it by mistake. And in that case, he has to bring a special sacrifice. Okay, this is all we're talking about when the brother died and left children. A brother is not allowed to be. But if she was married, if the brother was still alive, in that case the person slept with his wife on purpose, with his brother's wife, in that case they will be strangled. Okay? Okay, so again, there is no, the rabbis did not come in with more restrictions because, again, this is a brother. There's no other brothers that you could have from, again, we just said, brother from the mother or for the father. But you can't say, what about his son's wife? No, that is already, that's not what we're talking about here. There is no, the rabbis did not went that far. So basically, if your brother's son who has a wife and he divorces her, you're allowed to marry that woman. Not advisable unless he's dead. You don't want to have fights, obviously, with your brother or with your nephew. But anyway, B'ezrat Hashem should give you bracha v'atzlacha. All those who are listening, b'siyata d'shmaya, Hashem should be ma'aleh et otanu b'kedusha, b'torah, b'limud Torah. Hashem should bless you with all the good.